reversal.
That's a crunching right hand, and that must finish it. It must finish it.
Taylor trying to catch himself, using his jab. Eats a right hand. Another right hand, and he goes down. Oh my goodness.
The dream is made real. Ricky Hatton rocks the world with a truly stunning win over a modern legend. He is the champion of the world.
Yo, what's going on, people? Back again, just like the Premier League season, we're surely back again. What's going on? It's Kojo, your host, Raps on TV, talking all the best things in boxing. It's been a bit of a hiatus, obviously, on holiday, the guys working, Rafi doing his thing, but we're back and we're looking to be much more consistent now. The boxing season is back upon us. Last week you would have noticed I was taking a bit of a backseat, working on the technical side of things, so guys like Rafi and Tom will be the hosts moving forward. But I'm here with Rafi. How you doing, sir?
Not too bad, my friend, not too bad. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm all good. How's your week been? How's your weekend been?
Yeah, very good, man. Consume the boxing news. I imagine you're the same.
Yeah, exactly. Very. I mean, there's a lot of news to be consumed by, so we got to take it while we can, huh? As the saying goes.
Course,
But yeah, so I was going to say, so it's just the two of us today for all the listeners. So our topics of really agenda are really going to be quite high level, but quite casualist, probably for, I would say, the first time in a while, I'd like to think, but it's definitely going to be very casual focused today. We are going to be starting with the Lennox Lewis and Anthony Joshua beef. Two elite British heavyweights having a disagreement, and obviously the quite publicly and quite well, I guess you could say viral statement that Anthony Joshua called Lewis a clown. We're also going to be getting into this weekend's clash, which is a huge fight for British boxing, if you ask me. We're going to delve into that. That's Anthony Yarde taking on Sergey Crusher Kovalev. So lions in the camp. We're all lions in the camp for this weekend. And then outside of that, it was announced, we touched on it quite briefly, but obviously the whole news around Joshua fighting in Saudi Arabia, is it going to happen? The news from Ruiz. So we'll touch on that and what that saga's doing to boxing. And last but not least, the rumours of Mayweather versus Pacquiao. You probably would have seen a video by now of Mayweather saying he's welcome to come to Saudi and negotiate a deal for the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. We'll touch into that a lot more detail. So, Rafi, I guess the best place to start really is really the Joshua Ruiz. I know you've made some videos on it. Joshua Ruiz, Joshua Lewis. I know you've made some videos. Yeah, Lennox Lewis. So for those of you that may not be in the know, there was a Sky Sports interview called AJ Undocumented or Unguarded or something like that. In it, Untold Truths. And in it, Anna Williana kind of speaks to Joshua about, the criticism, about his coach, his team, blah, blah, blah. And in fact, Rafa, remind me, we need to talk about that as a whole. But I think, what was your thoughts when you saw Joshua say, Lennox Lewis is a clown, I don't respect him?
I can see where he was coming from, because you also have to put this in context. This is something that goes back 2 years, but I think maybe that was quite strong language to use against someone who's of, the status of Lennox Lewis. He's arguably the best heavyweight to ever come out of England. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it's a fair. Yeah. I think it's that's a more than fair point.
Yeah, and I think Lewis was very indirect and subtle in the way that he went at Anthony Joshua. It wasn't ever a direct insult. He was saying him and Matchroom as a whole could have negotiated better against Deontay Wilder. They could have done X, Y, and Z better. There was never any name calling or directly insulting. And it's not just the fact that Joshua said it on Sky Sports. It's the fact he then went on Instagram. So if you just thought it was a spur of the moment thing and gone, do you know what? Maybe he's just a young guy. He's emotional. But when he went on Instagram and put that on his story, it wasn't a one-off, he was angry in the moment thing. Yeah. He meant every word of what he said. And that's when it cut quite deep for me anyway. I don't know if you feel the same way. Yeah,
I mean, no, that's some good points raised there. I think, do you know what I will say? And I do want people to kind of, I know we probably might get this. So go onto our Facebook page if you're not calling in today. I know it's summer holidays. But for kind of guys that are going to listen in, go onto our Facebook, Instagram or Twitter And I would like to see some of the commentary that people believe Lewis has made, which is a harsh criticism of Joshua. I think, I'll be honest, I think you're looking at a guy that is the last undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, who fought in arguably one of the toughest eras, an era that definitely gets recognised as being tougher than the current era. And I just feel that a lot of the time it's just constructive criticism. Now, I'm not going to go too much and say, the youth of today, blah, 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 but I just feel a lot of it is more constructive criticism more than hate. And I get why he says, and this is Lewis, why he said the hate narrative has been something that's been created. Now, I'm not going to say they don't get along. I'm not going to say they're friends. They're probably just associates. They're in the boxing world. But for me, I have to be honest, I think that's left a sour taste in my mouth. I think, Joshua has the right to defend himself. Somebody comes at him, he goes at them. But I think it's the platform he's done it because, again, it's Sky Sports, so they're going to manipulate it. You can see it on Sky Sports News, on their Instagram page. They're manipulating it to make there be a big issue between them. And you know what? I'm going to say it straight. From a boxing legend to, definitely one of the best prospects UK's got at the moment, there should be more unity. I'm not saying they need to be holding hands in the ring, but it needs to be more unity. Obviously, it's come to light. There's an interview with Spencer Veron where he said, Lewis tried to get to Joshua's change room and he was blocked from getting there. We won't know. But if it was Joshua, then I think that's wrong because, again, he's a legend. You allow these guys into your room, especially if you're allowing random people like Gordon Ramsay and Jose Mourinho. So, yeah, it's a hard one because, you know what? Like, we want to see that mean streak from Joshua. We've been saying it, but I just felt this was the wrong opportunity to do it. I felt that there's other candidates that could have felt that deserved his wrath, if that makes sense. So I mean, for me, a question I want to ask you, though, obviously, I don't know if you watched the whole of that interview, The Untruth. What did you make of that? I want to hear your thoughts on that actual interview.
It was quite interesting looking at the delay in responses because I was looking more at the body language and the tone of speech than what was said.
Yes.
And so when Anna Warhouse asked him things like, do you... what was she asking? There was a 5-second pause. When she asked, were you right going into the fight?
Yes.
And there's a 5-second pause. You can count to 5 slowly.
Yes.
And then I was fine going in.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even hidden well. And that's where you think, it's all well and good reciting a script or a narrative that Eddie's prepared beforehand.
All his PR people,
live on air.
Yeah.
And, doing that, you can't premeditate that. And so, if Joshua's been let off his leash by Eddie, maybe that's a marketing move. Maybe people think he's too manufactured. But the problem with that being, when you let him off the leash, Joshua is not an intelligent guy. Tyson Fury is. He knows exactly what to say and when and how to. But Joshua's not. And I don't think he's the type of guy that should be let off the leash, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely an element of... I think, look, he's definitely not... He's not an idiot. But I felt that interview, I don't know whether that was the angle, but I felt it, I don't think it done him any favours. And the reason I say that, you touched on something, the body language. Again, I was looking at what was not said rather than what was said. That same answer, you couldn't have said I'm lying any more than the way he responded to that question. I think her body language and the tone of her questioning and how she said it, I don't think she believed. I don't know what her thoughts are on Joshua, but I felt that she was slightly negative. And there was, I don't want to say childlike, but there was just an element of Joshua not really being the heavyweight champion of the world. It didn't seem like he wasn't sat there talking like he's the heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, we know he's not because he's lost, but do you know what I mean? It didn't seem like he had ever been one. So it was a bit disappointing, to be honest with you, to kind of see that. And just to, again, just to see him say certain things which, I'll take, for example, the lucky punch. That what he meant, it was a punch from the gods. I get what he's trying to say, but again, I just feel that's the wrong platform and the wrong tone. I mean, do you think it was a lucky punch?
All 4 of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a really silly comment to make, man. And, I think you'll look back on that in years to come and think, I've had a mare there because, he was put down 4 times. It wasn't, a random Dave Allen versus Nick Webb kind of punch. He was put down 4 times in the fight, and none of them were clean one punch knockdowns. They were all combinations. So it wasn't just 4 punches. Each one was at least a 4 to 6 punch combination. So 15 lucky punches. I'm not buying it, man. Yeah. I'm not buying it.
And the thing is, and this is what I wanted to say, this is why I just think something's off. I will say it, and I'll say it like this. When the fight was ended, for weeks upon end, he said, no, the right man won. So I just find it strange that he's now saying it was a lucky punch. Do you see what I mean? It's not, and I think maybe people would say maybe that's the mark of the champion, because I immediately afterwards he was full of praise for Ruiz and said, look, he won, better man won, blah, blah, blah. Whereas now it's like it's a lucky punch for the gods. So I'm like, so what's changed that narrative? You know, the other question I wanted to say, and we'll get into it, but let's talk about, I mean, do you know, is there any reason from your point of view that you've heard why the fight is not going to happen in New York? Why? I understand why UK it's not happening, but Saudi, from US to Saudi, it doesn't make any sense.
Money talks. That's the only reason they've done it in Saudi Arabia, because realistically, there's not a boxing community there. In the Middle East, you could argue there is, because in Dubai they hosted the World Boxing Super Series, and that's not exactly.
No, that was still Saudi Arabia, bro. That was Jeddah. So Saudi Arabia hosted the World Boxing.
That was Jeddah.
Yeah, that was Jeddah.
Oh right, I thought that was in Dubai.
No.
Wow. But Amir Khan's was in Dubai, wasn't it?
Yeah, Amir Khan's was in Dubai.
Yeah, Amir Khan's was in Dubai. Yeah.
So you're right on the money, but I guess my point is, to me, is what's happened that the US is no longer an option, given that Joshua said he's not here to take part, he's here to take over. Everything was the AJ show gate crashing on the United States. What has happened that they're no longer thinking US is a viable option for the rematch?
The only thing I can think of is maybe autonomy over the judges. In America, it's harder to control the judges than it is in a neutral venue, because neutral basically means match room.
Yeah.
It could be happening on another planet. It could be happening on Mars.
Unless it's Mexico.
Matchroom panel.
Unless it's Mexico.
Or America. That continent, they'll avoid.
Yeah.
Anywhere outside of North America, or the Americas in general, it's a matchroom panel.
Yeah, so...
And, you know, they tried playing it off with the whole Wales thing, saying, oh, Cardiff isn't a neutral venue because that's in Wales, and he's fought there twice before. Yeah. And they're right for saying that, because it's not a neutral venue at all. It's part of the UK.
Exactly. I mean, it's his Lions then. He's fought there. I mean, he's fought there twice. He's fought at Wembley twice. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I think from my point of view, this Lennox Lewis and Joshua thing, I mean, I really hope it gets squashed, just so that the media aren't able to kind of turn it around and make it into something that it's not. I also think, you know, we've got to look back at other fighters, you know, not just your Wilders or your Furies, but just across the board. And you always see, look, the guy, they're up for critique. I mean, Mayweather, I think, in my opinion, and we're going to discuss it later, but, you know, Mayweather's the best boxer that we've seen in our generation. He's still open for critique. So I think Joshua, and this is my point, is if Mayweather is up for critique, doesn't mean he listens to it, but my point is, nothing should absolve Joshua from being critiqued. And on top of that, by the last undisputed, there's one thing that you do it, I do it, fans call up on a show, you can ignore that. You know, you don't even have to respond, obviously, but like somebody of Lennox Lewis's caliber, like it or not, he's earned the right to say what he sees. He's been in your footstep, he's trodden that path. You know, he made losses and made adjustments to his teams. You know, it's not that he disrespected his coaches, but he was proactive in that sense. So yeah, it's really interesting to see how this one's going to play out. But yeah, I hope long term that it doesn't become a big issue. I really hope so.
I completely get what you mean, man. Because Mayweather's in a position to call the shots. If people don't critique him, if people do critique him, then Joshua is definitely open to that as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's a for me, you just got to take it on the chin and let it roll out. So what do you make? Let's quickly touch on the the saga from Eddie Hearn last week, probably, or the Wednesday, there was a press conference. No fighters turned up, but you had sort of like the tourism chief officer from Saudi Arabia there, Omar Khalil. Eddie Hearn was there.
Yeah.
Obviously, they spoke at great lengths. But what do you make of that Eddie Hearn press conference, we might as well call it?
Yeah, I think that was just more a case of, a PR, and I think stunt's too strong a word. It was a PR exhibition to show that Saudi Arabia isn't as bad as it's painted out to be. And when they put in the whole Western technology elements and the fireworks and the concerts that we're used to seeing in the West, that was done to appeal to a Western fan base, being Joshua and Ruiz's, saying that, look, Saudi is becoming more westernized and more accommodating of that sort of stuff. So it's not a no alcohol, no this, no that, no nothing zone. I don't know if you felt the same way, though.
Yeah, I mean, you mean in terms of it just being a PR stunt?
Yeah, PR exhibition,
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be that way. And look, I'm not actually against it being in Saudi Arabia, so I think that's good for boxing, different locations. I just don't think this is the right fight at this specific time for the location. So, if there's going to be fights in Saudi, and I will still go to it. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, I will still go to it. But ultimately, I think the right thing to do is back in the States. But I guess my point is, when we speak about that press conference, obviously it's still not announced, it's still not signed, the contract's not signed. Do you think Eddie Hearn has been exposed in the way that, he says one thing, but actually if you don't question specifically, he's probably telling you something that is a bit untrue, i.e. saying the contract had been signed until he was further pressed and then admitted that the contract that's been signed is the first contract with the rematch clause. So there's no actual contract for this fight. What do you think of that?
It's hard to say. I think exposed is hard to say because unless you read the contract, and only the lawyers and their legal teams will have, it's very difficult to say. But the fact that he's backtracking on statements and saying, "Oh, what I meant by that was the prenup that we agreed before the first fight," like you said, doesn't bode particularly well for him. And long term, I think that's hurting Matchroom's brand because the White situation isn't going away. Joshua's losing the plot by calling out Lennox Lewis and all this sort of stuff and saying lucky punch on the gods, and then the promoter who's meant to spearhead the whole thing backtracks on what he says every couple of weeks. So it's not looking good. Yeah,
no, fair point. And that's definitely a good point on that. I mean, for Eddie Hearn, do you think he's playing it the right way? I mean, clearly we reading between the lines, it's quite clear that any rematch that takes place in Saudi, you would assume he needs to give Ruiz more money. Do you think Ruiz deserves more money?
I think if you sign a contract beforehand saying that you're entitled to, I think it was $10 million, $9 million.
Yeah.
And that's the absolute maximum. If you sign a contract, then you knew what you were signing into before the first fight. So I don't think he does deserve more money, no. But I know at the same time that Al Heyman's going to be the one telling him what to do and pressing his button. So I think this is just a case of Eddie Hearn knows that going to court is a long, long process and time is money. And if it means Joshua's without the belt for another 6 months, he'd rather get rid of Al Heyman, pay Ruiz another $2 million just to get the fight done. Because going to court is going to hurt the brand more for Joshua than giving him a bit of money.
Well, exactly.
So $2 million is a small price to pay instead of, going to court.
I mean, but wouldn't you not say that it's only right if you know that the potential rematch would have been in the UK for X, and now you know that it's being moved to Saudi Arabia, which, as you said earlier, is clearly a location where it's all about the money. Don't you think they should have just given him more money from the start? I mean, the rumours are 80 plus, but my point is, rather than knowing that there's more increase, don't you think it would have been smart and prudent to just give him more money as opposed to have him dig his heels in? Because as you said, he's not going to want to go to court. I don't think he can afford to go to court either.
Yeah, it's I mean, I still stand by the fact that I get what you're saying. If they didn't know it was in the UK or America, it's a different story. But if you signed a contract that says 9 million max, you signed a contract. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you buy,
without the location. Don't forget the location wouldn't have been Saudi Arabia though. So that contract wouldn't have had a set.
Fight said that
there was no location in it. If you pay attention to two things, one was Ruiz said if he wants to get me in the UK, he's going to have to give me 50 million. And two, the fact that contractually, if it stated UK, I think they would be forcing it as opposed to looking for a quote unquote neutral ground in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. And I think there's also a domino effect too, because Sky Sports are now advertising it as 7th of December.
Oh, is it?
Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's on the Sky Sports ticker every day. So if Ruiz hasn't signed a contract and it's on the Sky Sports ticker, and they have to backtrack on that, that's going to hurt Sky Sports' brand, and they won't look too well on that at all. So
I think the good thing for her. Yeah, you're right. I think the good thing for her, because I didn't know that, I think the good thing of that is that Sky Sports will more likely put up a bit of money for that. Because I think if it's in Saudi Arabia, it actually works well for them. Probably better than some of the other locations, in all fairness.
Yeah. You reckon it works better than UK or America for Sky Sports?
Not, of course, not the UK, but I think the Americas it does, because then people don't have to stay up as late. Do you know what I mean? Because Dubai are ahead of us. So if anything, what it means is that the fight would be on, do you know what I mean? And probably earlier than what we're used to, but that's fine. I think UK fans can adopt it. I think it's the early hours of the morning when, I mean, look, even this rematch, even if it was in New York, I think because of what's gone on, I still think, yes, I mean, don't get me wrong, you're right. It would definitely generate a lot of pay-per-view numbers, but I'm quite certain that the first fight didn't generate those numbers on the basis of, no one expecting what happened to happen. So listen. So let's go out to the lines. Let's go out to the lines and see what people have got to say. So we're going to 488. 488. The floor is yours. Hello.
Hey, Kojo. It's Dave Showhouse from the Boxing Voice. How are you?
Yes, Dave. How you doing, sir? You well?
I'm good.
Long time.
I know. It's been ages working and Boxing Voice and other commitments.
No worries. What's on your mind?
Fight this weekend. Kovalev, Yarde.
Yes. Talk to us.
I think that's going to be a very, very interesting fight. I noticed Anthony Yarde's been off Twitter as well. I've seen him actually on there. Tunde's been very, 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 very confident as well. I'm actually probably going to get shot down for this fight. You can see Anthony Yarde winning. I think Kovalev's past it now. My concern is the venue, just being typical thinking Russian judges and Europeans. But in an ideal world, I can see him knocking out Kovalev, to be fair. And I know that's an ambiguous statement, but I mean, why can't it happen? He was down on the floor against Alvarez, wasn't he? And I know he avenged that loss.
Yeah, but he still got knocked out.
Ever since Ward has done him twice, and the first one, in my opinion, it wasn't that close when you watch back. I think Ward's very, very clever. Yeah. A boxing scientist, if you will. He called him, and ever since then, he took his soul away, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't the same man anymore. So, and this is going to swing. So I'm picking Yarde by KO, like a late KO or stoppage, or worst case, if he does get robbed and it goes the distance, draw.
Yeah, I mean, that's some valid statements. I mean, we haven't gone into that in detail, but I mean, I'll say early doors. I do agree with you. And I mean, one of the reasons I feel that Yarde can get the knockout, I think power, pace, quick hand speed, I think that's all on his side. I think there's definitely maybe the question mark around ring IQ. Obviously, since Kovalev is now working with Buddy McGirt, potentially he's looked better. But one of the things I was saying when I was breaking it down to myself, I was like, who I know everyone's going to say either Alvarez, but first fight he lost by knockout. Even if he was going in as the better fighter. But what I say to people is, who has Kovalev beat or really fought that's a dangerous opponent since the Ward losses? And we've got to think the Ward loss was over 2 years ago. Exactly. Everybody he's fought is 34 plus. Yarde's got youth on his side, and I think he's also got a massive amounts of belief. And at some point, we've got to look at the guy who's a UK fighter and say, listen, he's going to a guy's backyard in the depths of Russia. If that doesn't say confidence, I don't know what it is. And you know what? I've got to put money behind my man. So, yeah, I don't think you're thinking out of term at all, to be fair, Dove. I think there's a good chance he can get the knockout.
I think he can, and we're underestimating. I mean, this kind of reminds me of when David Hay went over. I'm not talking about I'm talking about more about the star potential, because when David Hay went to fight Mayweather over in Russia on an obscure time, not many people knew he was on, from what I remember correctly. He wasn't really in the public's limelight how he is in now, and he went there and he won, and I know he went on points, but it's that sort of untapped potential. And I think he's got the skills. I mean, he's very highly skilled. That the stamina for sale, all that stuff is good. I mean, it's good. This could elevate him on a world scene. Make him a public name. The other point I was going to make was regarding this. This feud with AJ and Lennox Lewis. I mean, you guys touched upon a very valid point about if you're on that level, you should be open to critique. I mean, not forgetting Rocky Marciano when he was criticising, a then named Cassius Clay. He was calling him out.
Exactly.
He's not all that and stuff like that. And who actually, and I'm only saying it between those two, but Muhammad Ali, in my opinion, was the better heavyweight.
Yes.
Out of those two, but AJ, I think the media is to blame sometimes. They blow a story out of proportion, and who knows? Those guys could sort this stuff out. And everyone's open to some sort of criticism.
Yes.
The fight in Saudi Arabia, that'll be horrendous if that never pulls off, isn't it? On the 7th of December, because nothing's officially signed and stuff like that, and it's. I'll be very shocked. I'm sorry, not shocked. I'll be gobsmacked in a way if that doesn't come off, because of all the PR that's been surrounding it now. We as a public think it's almost it's done, isn't it? But it's not really, is it?
It's not. It's really not.
And just to rewind to something.
Yeah, go, Rafi.
Sorry, go on. Just to rewind to something you said at the very starting bit. You feel that Yarde's going to do the business. Do you think to get the stoppage, he should look to get him out there early, or later on and make Kovalev feel his age? Which do you think he should be his target?
I think what they're going to do, because he's very, very smart, the coach, and they never give like a prediction, do they? They never say, I'm going to knock him out, and they're very, very good like that. I think they're going to plan a long game. As soon as they see him deteriorating, they're going to jump all out, and I say they because it's a two-man operation, and they're brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. You guys have been there. You know exactly what the operations are like. And it's just such a good, well-oiled machine, and I'm going to enjoy this as a fan, as a journalist. I think it's going to be great. So I think he's going to break him down. Kovalev then, I think, is going to be thinking, hang on, I don't want any more of this. This is becoming a systematic beating now, and from there, it's going to be either lights out, or he might even quit on the stool. But I don't see the ref forcing the stoppage. I don't know about what you guys think about that, because it's hometown and everything.
Yeah. I don't think they'd want to leave it to points either, would they? And that goes back to what you were saying about that two-man team. They'll be wanting a stoppage. You don't want to be leaving stuff to chance, especially when you're going abroad. I just can't see them going in there paying points. And also, because Yarde's never been 12 rounds, has he? He's never been 12 rounds, so...
I think has he done 10?
He's done 10, but not 12. Yeah, he's done 10, but not 12.
So I mean, even that though, the 10 was because it was a 10-round contest, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason why he went 10. But something special is Yarde, and hopefully he's taking a big gamble. I mean, if you look at it, looking at both brands, BT Sport, Frank Warren, and Matchroom, you could argue potentially that BT fought Frank Warren have had the better year as well. I mean,
Yeah.
the shows that
Yeah.
I mean, that big loss with AJ.
Yeah.
I mean, Kojo, you were there, weren't you?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
saw the somberness in the room.
Exactly.
It was shocking.
Yeah, and that's definitely upset the apple cart. And I think you're right. I think you're not only just from today. I think the Dubois show with Joyce, I thought that was a really good card. Some good scraps. You got the likes of Jack Catterall that's out there as well. So, no, totally agreed with you. I think, just to touch on the last point you made about Yarde, I think I have to say, and I think, you know what I think what's happened? I feel the promotion's been a bit low, just generally over this fight. Yeah. Whether that's because Warren believes him, I don't know. But I think, obviously, Tunde's sort of narrative and his outspokenness, I think, has probably made people think, oh, what's going on here? But do you know what? And I said this, I do think the Ward comparison was too far. I'm not going to lie, but I think overall, I think, you know what? This is what is needed. I mean, you read a lot of sports books and they'll tell you that, the coach, they have to help develop the athlete. And I think Tunde's way of developing Yarde can't be kind of questioned at the end of the day, because he was never a great amateur. He's not in the Olympic pedigree, and he's now fighting for a world title. I think if he goes on to win, which I believe he does, I think it's a huge, huge achievement. So, yeah, like you, really looking forward to the fight. And yeah, hopefully we get the win. So, listen, Dave, I was going to say we're going to move on to the next caller, but I appreciate you calling in. Much, much appreciated. And then we'll catch up soon, hopefully at another fight in London. Are you down for Lomachenko-Campbell?
I'll be there for the presser, but unfortunately I won't be able to make the fight, so Jack will be covering the fight. So if you guys are there, give me a shout. We'll go for a brew afterwards.
All right, no worries, mate.
Definitely.
Cheers. Thanks
Appreciate
again.
the call, my friend.
Cheers.
Take care,
Cheers.
guys.
Take care.
See you later.
Take care, mate.
Bye.
Bye.
Right, so going out to 985. That's the main resident, Mr. Appia. How's it going, bro?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, guys.
Good.
How
good.
are you? You okay?
We're all blessed. We're all blessed.
That's good. Good to hear. Good to hear.
I'll let Rafi take the lead.
What's on your mind, bro? Question or statement?
Boy, really, I'm just ringing up to support the show. Really, the situation with
Appreciate
Joshua.
that, man.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all good. Anytime. The situation with Joshua, I think people are allowed to say what they want to say. To be fair, You know what I mean. Sometimes it's nice to say something that just spices things up a little bit. It shows that he's got that little edge.
Yeah.
And when you're competing, sport like boxing, yeah, it is about discipline and this and that. But that little edge, you need that little edge sometimes. And it's nice that he's got that. And I'm just looking forward to seeing Joshua get in the ring and get his title back, to be honest with you. So,
you think the first fight was a fluke?
I don't know. I think Ruiz done the business. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
I can see the same outcome again, to be honest with you, happening. Yeah, to be fair. But
you sound like an AJ fan.
I'm not really, to be fair, a fan of anyone, really. I'm like a boxing fan sort of thing. I'm not really a fan of anyone. I like good fighters, and I respect the sport, but not really a big AJ fan. Not really. But I think it'll be the same outcome. I think AJ will go in there with a point to prove, but I think I can see the same outcome, really. And we're ready.
By stoppage your points.
I think he'll stop him again.
Quicker this time? Or is it round about the same?
Probably round about the same, but I think he'll just be too much for AJ. I think he'll just be too much for AJ. I think he'll just be too much, Yeah.
What do you think tactically AJ has to do for this fight? Or not even tactically, his body-wise. Do you think he needs to trim down? What do you think he needs to do to stop that from happening again?
I just think the way he is, I just think it's just... the way he is, it's set up for how Ruiz is. It's just the way he is. He's not. If he was fighting someone like Tyson Fury, who's like nimble for a big man and can move, then I would say it'd be difficult for Ruiz. But AJ, he doesn't. He can't fight that way, can he?
No,
he can't. So for me, one winner, Ruiz. Obviously, AJ has got the sort of battery in his back and a bit of hunger to get his title back. But I think he'll come unstuck.
Do you see that hunger though? Because I've been looking at his interviews, bro, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good.
Jake's gonna carry on, Daniel.
You know, to be fair, I haven't seen many of his interviews, but I'm sure deep inside, now I'm talking for myself now, if I'm holding titles, I've lost my title, I want it back. I want that fucking title back. That's coming back home. Yeah. That's coming back home with me. That's coming back home with me. If I've lost my title, that's coming back home with me. Now, I'm sure every man's the same. So, let's hope he feels that way.
No. Yeah. I agree. And Daniel, last one before we go. The news that Billy Joe Saunders is signed with Eddie Hearn. How do you Matchroom? How do you take that? Think that's good for him?
Well, you know I rate Billy Joe as a fighter.
Yeah.
And now, hopefully, we're going to see him in some fights that are going to really show his potential now. You know, I think them two have been flirting together for a long, long time. I think this was something in the pipeline for a while now. And I think it's a marriage made in heaven, really, to be honest with you. So, we're looking forward to see Billy Joe, a skillful British fighter, in some big fight from now on for the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there's a good chance of that. And last one before we go, Yarde versus Kovalev. That's taking place this weekend. What's your thoughts on that?
I want Yarde to win, Kojo.
Yeah.
But I feel that Kovalev's experience, I think, will see him through this. That's what I feel.
Nice.
Yeah. That's what I feel. I think he'll put on a bit of a performance. Yeah. And I think he'll come away with a win.
Nice. No. That's what we're here for, bro. Everyone's allowed to give their opinion. And one way or another, we're going to see the fight take place. So, listen, D, thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate the support.
Anytime.
Summer's over, so we're back.
Appreciate the call, bro.
Appreciate back. We're going to move on to the next one.
Fella.
Cheers. Take care. So, we're going out to 910. 910.
Hello, Rex on TV. How's it going, boys?
Yes, not bad. That's Sam.
Not too bad, man. Not too bad.
Yeah, what's going on with you guys? How's things?
We're good. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? I want to know what's on your mind.
Well, it's a question or statement, man.
Where do we start?
Wherever.
Question.
Hit me.
What do you make of this Lewis versus Joshua beef? And then, sorry, Rafa, you take over.
Talk about what?
Joshua versus Ruiz.
Oh.
Lewis.
Okay.
You see what you got?
What are we talking? Location?
No, sorry, I said Louise. I'm even meant to say Lennox Lewis. I mean, what do you make of this Joshua versus Lennox Lewis? Supposedly.
I think Joshua just knew when he said something. I just think if he had a regret, I think he would have regretted not to, say something like that in that interview, in that moment. He just got the heat of the moment. I just feel, I don't know, I thought it was a bit distasteful from him. I understand what he's saying because he's frustrated, and I'm sure there's obviously another side to the story. I'm sure Lennox is probably coming at him from not just a public standpoint, but talking to his private individuals and people that know around him. So I think that's probably built up a frustration in him and just said, you know what, sod you, Lennox, I don't respect you, you're a clown. Why are you talking? Because I'm sure he probably said shit behind his back that's kind of got him rattled up and that sort of thing. So, but I feel like someone like AJ, an older AJ, the AJ before the Povetkin fight would have just shrugged it off and been like, if that's what he thinks, he's entitled to his opinion and give that whole political speech. But I just feel he needs to be a bit more consistent in terms of when he's being like that. What, are you going to be someone that's politically incorrect or politically correct all the time?
Yeah.
You can't go from saying I don't respect Lennox as a clown to then going on William Hill with I forgot his name, the guy William Hill.
Davis,
going and talking about how there's a purpose, there's a passion, and there's all this kind of bollocks. Like, come on, man. Don't keep giving us this cop out. Give us the real you. If you, I want an angry AJ. I want to. Do you know what? I'm coming for this. I'm getting this. I don't care how. I'm getting this. Ruiz, I'm after you. But it's just. But at the same time, clown. I was obsessed. I was obsessed with getting the undisputed title, and I was like, yep, you can't knock him for that.
Exactly. No, fair point. So
you can't knock him for that.
Okay. No, definitely. And then, sorry, carry on, Rafi.
I was going to say, I'm surprised you said that you thought that it was a heat of the moment thing, because he then went on Instagram a couple of days later and then put it out on there again.
Yeah, but he's trying to cover his tracks, though. I just feel like he's trying to be like, you know what? If you say something, let me stand by it now. Let me stand by it and go full on beast mode, full on. Let me come for you, Lennox. Because he looks like an idiot if he goes back and apologizes. Or tries to be like, oh, backtrack. You got to go forward with that. And obviously, as Ruiz said, yeah, I'm Team Lennox and Sweetie Team Lennox or something. It's like, Ruiz, you were running your mouth. You're running your mouth now. I get it. You're the champion, but don't get too carried away with all this money.
Do you think he's changed? Do you think he's changed now?
Yeah, massively, man. Massively. Yeah. Got a taste of being on Jimmy Kimmel and all this, and now he's like, you know what, I can get used to this life. Like, let me buy a house. Let me show my stuff there. Let me do this. I'm rubbing shoulders with Deontay Wilder, who I thought I'd never rub shoulders with. I saw that interview. I thought that was pathetic, mate. I saw an interview with him, and I thought I was like, you guys are supposed to be fighting each other soon. But it's undisputed. I just feel like it's a big old plan, and they're all like, you know what, we don't need to fight. Let's get all the belts to PBC. That's how it just looks like. I'm just like, what the fuck? I said, excuse me, but what the fuck is this? That's how I feel. Like, what's going on?
It's amazing what can happen in 3 months. Like, we wouldn't have ever thought we'd be having this conversation 3 months ago, would we?
No, this is the beauty. But you know what? I also want to shout out to another person who, I forgot his name now. He said that, look, I believe Joshua will lose. I believe all the big heavyweights will lose to unexpected sources. And lo and behold, it did happen. So, you know, I feel like it's an exciting time for boxing in the heavyweight division, but I do feel AJ has to win this fight. No ifs, no buts, it's how. And I do feel, partially, that the whole contract with Ruiz, I think it's already signed. I don't think Eddie Hearn would actually come out and say it's not signed. I just think they're saying that for the fuck of him.
No, it's not signed, bro. Otherwise, they'll be wasting time. How many people have bought flights to Saudi Arabia yet?
I know, I get this, but they know they legally have to do it. I do feel that.
Not in Saudi Arabia.
There's also another argument opened up because a lot of these casual boxing fans aren't smart enough to read in between the lines, and they're just on the Hearn, Matchroom bandwagon and think Matchroom rules the whole world of boxing. It's like, no, there's other angles, but the thing is, he said 3 different things with Eddie Hearn, and I've said this to you offline, Kojo, is that, you know, he made a point of saying that, listen, when we trigger this negotiation, contract clause or whatever, all we have to do is let them know he's the B side, he's the A side, we're the B side. All these certain legalities will be ironed out, but he signed up for the rematch clause, and once it's been triggered, what happens is that they have Ruiz is able to say just accept. He has no choice. AJ is able to dictate the venue, the location, the time, because it's voluntary, and when it's voluntary, you get to call the shots because it's not mandatory. And he changed Ruiz's life. Fair play, we understand that. Cool, you said this. Now you said, look, the fight's done, it's been signed, Ruiz signed the contract, yada, yada, yada. It's going ahead, Ruiz's team are happy. All of a sudden, we don't see posts on Instagram, we don't see anything, and then Ruiz comes out and says, this fight is not happening in Saudi Arabia, don't be fooled, all this stuff.
The real news, man.
Pardon?
He said, no fake news, we got the real news coming soon.
Yeah, exactly, this is what he's saying, and Eddie Hearn's still being cool, calm, and collected, saying that, listen, he signed a contract, and then he's backtracking his words, saying, do you know what, he hasn't actually signed a contract, because in the original contract, he signed up for that. And it's like, Hearn, what are you saying? Are you saying this is proof? Is it legit? Is it not? Is it bulletproof? What's going on? Because now you're backtracking. And he's like, oh no, but obviously, there's a contract being signed, and people aren't understanding. And I feel like people like Coogan and that aren't being able, well, not just Coogan, I'll say IFL, not just him, but people at IFL and other channels are just kind of supporting Eddie and listening to what he's saying and interpret it in a way and not really getting onto him. But listen, Eddie, you're saying this, you're saying that, and I feel like this is a moment where that barbershop conversations or whatever can come in full effect by actually giving Eddie Hearn facts. Facts is, you said this, now you're saying this, now you're saying that. So what is it, Eddie? Because you are saying multiple different things.
Exactly.
That's it, really. Yeah. And then if every other boxer fan would be like, do you know what, Ruiz, Joshua, all this. Like, no, listen, there's clearly a problem between the two camps. They're not on the same page.
Yep.
I don't even think Eddie Hearn orchestrated this, Saudi. I think it was Team Joshua that did. That said, look, this is what's going on. Like Olympic. If it's not in the UK, we'll do it in Saudi Arabia. I know people. Joshua's got Middle Eastern contacts. Not that I know anything, I'm just speculating, but it kind of seems and makes it out to be okay.
So listen, bro, we've got to wrap up because time's moving on. So quickly, I need a quick prediction on Yarde Kovalev.
If Yarde doesn't knock him out, Kovalev wins. Simple as. So
no points for Yarde. It's either knockout or nothing.
Never. Okay. Knockout or nothing.
I like that. I agree. All right then. So listen, bro, we've got to go to the next caller before we wrap up the show. But thank you very much.
Worries,
appreciate the support as usual. Cheers. Take care. Cheers. Bye bye.
Cheers, man.
Cheers. And last but not least, our co-host or new host, Tom. What's going on, bro? Yes, that's what I'm talking about, brother. How's it going?
All good, man. How are you?
Good. We're good. Just rapping on as usual. Raps on TV. What's on your mind?
You know what, Rap? It was really good, and I can notice that Raps on TV is going global because we've got a few fans out there in the Emerald Isle.
I like that. Man's doing that promotion. I like that. I like that. So what's on your mind, bro? I mean, I don't know. Best place to start, really. Let's talk from a boxing perspective. Yarde versus Kovalev. That fight's going on this weekend. What's your thoughts? How's it going down?
You guys raised some very good points. I don't know who it was from the boxing boys, but he mentioned how Kovalev's on the slide. I don't think he's on the slide. I think if you base it off his last performance against Alvarez, as boxing fans, we kind of take everyone's last performance as their best, as the best account of themselves. I thought Kovalev boxed maturely against Alvarez in the rematch. He was vulnerable. He was caught by a younger, fresher fighter, and they say that the younger, fresher fighters, if you're good enough and you're operating at that level, a good young fighter should be a good, solid fighter in general. And I think Kovalev, although he's got the experience, although he's been around the block, Yarde's coming in with some good form. He's a well drilled athlete. You can see that he's not just this kind of loud mouth, brash fighter. He's well drilled. Tunde's got him, firing up on all cylinders for this fight. And I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls the upset off. But do you know what? I've been assessing this, like the dynamics of this fight for the last God knows how long, and I'm swaying towards Kovalev. I think his experience, his pedigree, like you said, Yarde has not been the 12-round distance, and although he's been in the championship limit at 10 rounds, it's not the same. A 12-round fight is fought at a different pace than a 10-round fight.
At elite level,
exactly. So,
and I mean, just on that, Tom, I think you raised a good point, and I just want to say he's not even actually been 10 rounds because the fight, which was 10 rounds, the guy retired, so he's not even gone a distance. So
that's it, exactly that. And it's going to be a hostile atmosphere. That people are saying there's no exposure for this fight. There doesn't need to be exposure, I don't think, for this fight. There's two guys at different phases of their career. One's at the pinnacle. Kovalev, he shared a ring with some of the most accomplished, fighters of this particular group of fighters within the light heavyweight division. Yarde
and arguably beat Ward.
Exactly, and tough fights. Fights that, although he's lost, you can't knock the man for taking fights like that, because at the end of the day, a lot of these Bivols, Beterbievs, if you put them in against a Ward, an Andre Ward now, or even look to negotiate with Andre Ward, they wouldn't take the fight. So Kovalev has to be given plaudits. The way he came over against Cleverly, I think if I could describe Kovalev in one word, I'd say deceptive. I think the way he got rid of Cleverly, I think it was second, third round, whatever it was, and he's able to maintain that over a 12-round distance. He's rugged, he's tough, and he's accomplished. He's got the ring IQ and the power, that raw power to beat a young, fresh fighter like Yarde, and that might disrupt him. That might give him the biggest shock of his career, because he's not been in this environment before. He's not faced anywhere near the level. And I love the two guys, Anthony and Tunde. I think their quality. I think they bring a freshness. They bring something unique to the sport. And they're not all about the loudmouth talking side of things. They do generally think they believe they'll win this fight. And fair play to them. I hope they're doing and go, do you know what, I hope Yarde goes out there and knocks him out in the first round. That's what I'm hoping happens. Because then at least then people can start, giving some appreciation to fighters that are able to talk a good game. They look the part. They're amicable for this sport.
Yeah.
Take it to another level. So it'll be interesting to see. But I'm not going to rabble on about this one. I mean, yeah, it's probably just as much as the exposure's been given to it. But no, it should be a good one. A good one Saturday.
And just to get your thoughts on something that's a bit random, but I'd want to get your take on it. Rumours of Mayweather versus Pacquiao 2 down in Saudi Arabia. Do you think anyone will be interested in that fight?
Do you know what, Coach? I didn't even know anything about Mayweather Pacquiao. I switched the Twitter off. Didn't even go on it the last few days, so I haven't even seen what's been going on. But again, Pacquiao is rightfully deserving of a rematch with Mayweather. Money will talk. Pacquiao, I mean, he's blown, I think, a lot of people's minds, beating Furman and coming back against, again, guys that at that age of 41 would we have expected him to be performing at that level at that age. It's memorable, to think that a 41-year-old is still in that shape. He's moving like he's 26, 27. No, he's not a 41-year-old. It would seem, but I think someone touched on it on a podcast I was listening to the other day, and they were saying about how all the big fights are going to go to Saudi Arabia. It's attracting a different market. Not even a casual market. It's attracting just a market where it's like uncertainty, because we don't know what the big fights. Imagine like a Khan and Kell Brook fight was to rematerialise in terms of being given that widespread media coverage. Would that be a fight that could take place in Saudi Arabia? Why not? I mean, all these big fights, they have a pull factor. People are actually saying, well, if there's money being generated, I think something like 70 million the Saudi government were paying to sanction this fight. I think $70 million was one of the purses being talked about. I'm not sure exactly the total revenue being generated. That's obviously probably going to be 5 times, 6 times more than that fee. But if that's a territory that Matchroom and other broadcasters, terrestrial TV networks want to expand in, why not? It's bringing something new. It's bringing a bit of a cultural diversity element to the sport, and we're going to maintain that British and American link. We're going to have fighters from British talents coming through, Boatsi, all these guys, Kelly, they're all going to get the opportunity to go out there. So I think it's great. I think it's a great opportunity, great experience. And I mean, they do say the world is your oyster, so why not go and explore new places?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about Khan and Brook in Saudi Arabia. Do you think if that did happen, I know this is a long shot, would that sort of cement the desperation that those two have to get the fight over the line? Because no one in the UK is going to buy that fight.
Yeah, I don't even think if it happened in the Macron Leisure Centre, no one would go to that.
Literally, man.
It would be weird. It'd be a weird one, but I mean, what's your thoughts? Do you think more fights of this magnitude are going to take place?
Yeah, I think it's inevitable, man. I think this fight now sets the benchmark, because it's an elite level fight at the creme de la creme. Fights don't get bigger than the heavyweight division, bar your odd Mayweather, Pacquiao's, and a few fights in between. The heavyweights are where the money's at, and so this is the benchmark it's set. And we'll see now. If Canelo does look to unify the division, now he's operating at super middleweight. Fights like that may well happen in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, I think it'll definitely set the benchmark. How about you?
Yeah, I think, like you said, a Khan Brook fight taking place in Saudi wouldn't appeal to even general UK hardcore fan, because again, it's the idea that British fans want to see a big fight, but they also want to make it a marquee event. They want to have the flexibility and the opportunity to enjoy themselves. And obviously, there is certain restrictions and certain freedoms that are not permitted out in Saudi. But again, it's not really. I mean, if any boxing fan had a notion, they would want to appreciate a sporting event as opposed to just going out there for a major like kind of sesh, But obviously, this is mainstream sport now. You see with I think I mentioned it briefly last week. You've seen the European Tour golf. You've seen the PDC. You've seen other sports branch out into these territories. And I think boxing has a different format and a different concept. It doesn't follow the same lines as football, rugby, darts. a niche kind of appeal. And when you take in a sport like boxing, which is the most brutal sport out there, besides MMA or mixed martial arts and other kind of like that, people want to see drama. And even if it's 10,000 Saudi officials watching a sport match, it's still encapsulating the boxing fans, because we get to watch that at prime time, TV. We get to watch that at a reasonable time. We don't have to worry about paying a pay-per-view fee, or we don't have to worry about the pay-per-view model losing any revenue, because that's guaranteed. You've got 9:30, 10 o'clock ring walk times. The stage is set. We saw with the World Boxing Super Series how they perfected that. You saw with the Cant fight recently. So I think the appeal is there. It's just about major fights out there, marquee fights that generate more publicity and more excitement. Yeah.
So guys, thank you very much, Tom. Appreciate it. Stay on the line. We're going to end the call, but before we go, Tom, do you want to just shout out your Instagram so people can follow you on Insta?
Yeah, just want to say, obviously, massive plaudits to you guys for the work you've done. This last month, I think we seem to be hitting targets, and I think just kind of moving forward now, we've seen. I mean, these last few weeks have flown by. We've got Lomachenko Campbell next week. We've got Yarde Kovalev this week. So it doesn't even seem like we're taking any breaks here. It just seems like rollover shows. Yeah. I think just kind of stepping it up now, and hopefully we can get some the likes of Tunde and Anthony with that WBO belt into the studio very soon. So.
Exactly. So your Instagram?
Raps on TV. Raps on TV. And that's where you're going to see the top quality from a non-biased perspective. Top quality visuals, and again something we're gonna build on. I'm not going to give too much away. Yeah,
Rafi, you want to do yours?
Yeah, 100%, man. Twitter at Raps on TV and Insta at Raps on TV.
Perfect.
And Facebook as well. Is it live boxing with Raps on? It's slightly different.
It's Raps on TV.
There's a live boxing at the front, so that one as well.
Perfect. So guys, listen, thank you very much for all the listeners. It's been that summer's out. We are back in the house. Where we're looking forward to start this season with a big bang. Before we go, I just realised we didn't do our predictions. So guys, quick predictions on Yarde versus Kovalev. Tom, I'm going to start with you. Who are you going with and how?
I'm going to go Yarde late stoppage.
Perfect. Rafi?
Yeah, I'm joining Tom on that. Yarde to close the show in round 9.
And I'm going to go full sweeps, and I'm also going with Yarde. I pick him to stop Kovalev. We got a clean sweep. Clean sweep. I think I will quickly say you made some valid points, Tom. I think Kovalev shouldn't be underestimated, but I think, you know what, this is probably one of those moments that we're going to see something different. I'm hoping, and I believe so. So, listen, guys, we're looking forward to everybody. Just keep supporting the show. As Tom said, we're going to keep coming back, doing bigger and better things. But up until then, subscribe everywhere you see the Raps on TV brand. And we ask that you enjoy the boxing this weekend. So, guys, thank you for your time, and we're out.
Nice one, guys.
Nice one.
Cheers, everyone.
He's taken another one, and Howard Foster has stopped it. Wow!